Following group of poems were sent to the email inbox of every student at a high school years ago by a student named Serenity after her first day there. This group of poems was only widely read after her death, and only after she was murdered did these poems gain recognition. People assign new meaning to each of them. Following group of poems were sent to the email inbox of every student at a high school years ago by a student named Serenity after her first day there. This group of poems was only widely read after her death, and only after she was murdered did these poems gain recognition. People assign new meaning to each of them. Poems were sent to the email inbox of every student at a high school years ago by a student named Serenity after her first day there. Some nights I wake up just to look out and see the stars. Some nights I wake up in the middle of the night, wishing I had a powerful message I could share with the world. But then I go to record it and no words come out. I believe a single whisper is enough to change the universe. This book is a whisper shouting the beautiful things of life from the balcony of your apartment, from the Capitol building of every nation, has a hidden message in every book that was ever written. Every book that was, every book that was. Every book that tried to portray the beauty of the soul, every painting and every note of every song. The only thing I wanna think about is what is here and now. Today was my first day at this school. I walked down the halls and looked at your faces, but didn't say a word to any of you. There is a presence I wanna feel. Like a ghost with me, always like the mist days after the rain. How there is no evidence of a bird. Once it flies through the air, I will write this entire book all in one night. The next day you'll read it and realize that when no one is listening, there is no connection. As a hidden message in every book that was ever written, of every book that tried to portray the beauty of the soul. Every painting, and every note of every song. The only thing I wanna think about is what is here and now. Today was my first day at this school. I walked down the halls and looked at your faces, but didn't say a word to any of you. There is a presence I wanna feel that is gone now, but resides like a ghost with me. Always like the mist, saying I wanna feel that is gone now, but resides like a ghost with me. Always like the mist, stays after the rain. How there is no evidence of a bird once it flies through the air. I will write this entire book all in one night. The next day you will read it and realize that when no one is listening, there is no connection. And death for the resurrection. The best part about falling in love is the life that comes from it. The best part about falling head first into something you are not prepared for is the fact that you know you'll take the dive. Last year there was so much snow falling that I stood in the cold. The school was cancelled. But I walked outside and felt every part of the world. The air was freezing, the streets were covered, but I never felt so alive. Even in that moment when we were forced to stay inside that entire day and not go to school and face the people I knew would never understand me. I feel coldness like many people feel love in every part of their body. Sometimes I wanna work and never stop working, never stop loving and never stop creating. But other times I find it so hard to get out of bed, spending all day in the retail store. I do my best to make money with my own strength. One of the worst things in life is losing someone close to you. But there is something even worse than that, losing someone who should have been close to you, but who you scorned and was never near to you. Never finding your home or falling into the arms of loved ones, but drifting through each place with no support. I imagine it is like this in many of the countries I have never been to today. I weep for the loss of all of these things. Freezing, the streets were covered, but I never felt so alive. Even in that moment when we were forced to stay inside that entire day and not go to school and face the people I knew would never understand me. I felt coldness like many people feel love in every part of their body. Sometimes I wanna work and never stop working, never stop loving and never stop creating. But other times I find it so hard to get out of bed, spending all day in the retail store. I do my best to make money with my own strength. One of the worst things in life is losing someone close to you. But there's something even worse than that, losing someone who should have been close to you, but who you scorned and was never near to you. Never finding your home or falling into the arms of loved ones, but drifting through each place with no support. I imagine it is like this in many of the countries I have never been to today. I weep for the loss of all of these things. When we are together, I know it will happen. You will hold me close to you, and the sparks will fly. And then we will leave each other and dream about each other. And then we will feel a need to see each other, but won't be able to for whatever reason. And then there will be sadness for whatever reason. When the world falls apart, we won't be able to mend it, because we are opposites. opposite sides of the world, and we'll spend the rest of our lives edging toward the middle of the world, but we'll never reach it, and sew the world back together. We are together, I know it will happen. You will hold me close to you, and the sparks will fly. And then we will leave each other and dream about each other, and then we will feel a need to see each other, but won't be able to for whatever reason. And then there will be sadness for whatever reason. When the world falls apart, we won't be able to mend it, because we are on opposite sides of the world, and we'll spend the rest of our lives. We are on opposite sides of the world, and we'll spend the rest of our lives edging toward the middle of the world, but we'll never reach it, and sew the world back together. We are on opposite sides of the world, and we'll spend the rest of our lives edging toward the middle of the world, but we'll never reach it, and sew the world back together. And we'll be able to mend it, and we'll spend the rest of our lives edging toward the middle of the world, but we'll never reach it, and sew the world back together. We won't be able to mend it. Some people have nothing to fall back on, let them perish. It was a dull and dreary night. The clouds covered the stars, the clouds covered the moon. Darkness covered the walls. I was inside and took out my pen and paper and wrote about what I saw. I heard the wind howling against my front door, and thunder crashing around, and then the power went out, and we sat in darkness for several hours. And then I was brought into a world in which things were brighter. And then I was on a train riding to a city I had never been in before. And then I was working in an office as hard as I could, and years later my life was over, and I had spent my days doing nothing notable or interesting enough to write down. And I have so many thoughts that are not interesting enough to write down. I believe my words will be forgotten soon after I am gone. The nature of beautiful and passing things. I was on a flight back to California. The only sincere art comes from broken places. The computer I used to write all of these poems is now shattering across the floor. The keys all strewn and falling out. The broken things are what I'm drawn towards, not just what they are, but the memory of what they were. And in my dream we were lying in the autumn leaves of the forest. The sky was growing darker because of the sorcerer wielding his magic, and the world was growing colder. But you gripped onto me, you led me out of the forest and into the light of the city. We came to a junkyard covered in gasoline, and I was the one to light the flame. And the burning started and did not stop. Into the light of the city, we came to a junkyard covered in gasoline, and I was the one to light the flame. And the burning started and did not stop. I've had so much passion, I stayed up all night writing and reading as many fantasy books as second, nothing can stop the cascading years. Nothing can stop the wrinkles on our hands. Nothing can stop the glory of what we have already and are about to experience. We both dread it, and we love it. We become bonded in a communion. We dream about the worlds that we would experience if only we were taking in each breath with realization and then action. We will never be left to our devices to be who we want to be. We will never, we become bonded in a communion. We dream about the worlds that we would experience if only we were taking in each breath with realization and then action. We will never be left to our devices to be who we want to be. Nothing can stop the wrinkles on our hands. Nothing can stop the glory of what we have already and are about to experience. We both dread it, and we love it. We become bonded in the communion, in the communion. We dream about the worlds that we would experience if only we were taking in each breath, realization and then action. We will never be left to our devices to be who we want to be. Soon I will have changed so much that even if you saw me, you will not recognize the person I will become. After the years we were away, in less than an hour, I filled the pages of that notebook. Sometimes I feel lonely, but it doesn't bother me. Sometimes when I'm at work at retail stores, I stare at the ceiling and think and imagine my life in other countries. But now I am lying alone in my room, thinking about the world we created together when we were kids. Thinking about how much we have grown in the past year. Thinking about the revival that will encompass our own lives as the next year cascades into us. I had an entire binder of movies and a shelf full of books, the same stories I would read over again, contemplating the nature of recreated things. And if there will be a recreation in my own life or yours, because there is so much doubt and so many things we don't know about eternity. The one thing I wanna do is leave this town and go to a big city and see the skyscrapers, and then contemplate the same questions and see if my answers have changed. But if my answers are not true, if not even with all wisdom in the world, can we find the nature of created things and the nature of passing things? Then how can we hope to know anything about these things? And if we don't know anything about these things, we are skydiving out of a plane into an ocean of regret, regretting the things we never did, regretting the things we did, regretting the chance we will never have to grow into braver and honest persons. Because no one could understand the nature of self-sacrifice, but that is what it is like to be in the world. That is what it is like to be in the world. That is what it is like to be in the world. That is what it is like to be in the world. That is what it is like to be in the world. That is what it is like to be in the world. when we were kids, thinking about how much we have grown in the past year, thinking about the revival that will encompass our own lives as the next year cascades into us. I had an entire binder of movies and a shelf full of books, the same stories I would read over again, contemplating the nature of recreated things, and if there will be a recreation in my own life or yours, because there is so much doubt and so many things we don't know about eternity. The one thing I want to do is leave this town and go to a big city and see the skyscrapers, and then contemplate the same questions and see if my answers have changed. But if my answers are not true, if not even with all wisdom in the world, can we find the nature of created things and the nature of passing things? Then how can we hope to know anything about these things? And if we don't know anything about these things, we are skydiving. When the dust turns to night, I will contemplate these questions again, because yesterday was here but now it's gone. Now it is night, but I don't wanna sleep, just wanna stay up all night and dream about places I could be, but am not right now, about things I could be doing but will never do, about hands that would lift me out of the dark. But I will never see, about voices that will call me that I will never hear, and also about corporations and governments that want to destroy us, that want to take advantage of us, that see us as a means to an end. We live our lives in the world as if these things did not exist. We live as if we are free, but we are really slaves. We dream as if these shackles were not on our hands, but they are as we are alone in the prison. You make me feel as if we're walking through fields of green and fields of light, where we not only comprehend the beauty of the world, but also believe in it and know it will take us out of this darkness. Of this darkness. Our lives are so linked, we are so connected in ways we do not admit, but know deep down in our hearts. And these links are not only fundamental to us, they guide us into the future. Memories of you and me together as friends, overcoming our demons. I always dream about traveling to vast, open, beautiful, and magical worlds. We dream as if these shackles were not on our hands, but they are as we are alone in the prison. You make me feel as if we're walking through fields of green and fields of light, where we not only comprehend the beauty of the world, but also believe in it and know it will take us out of this darkness. Oh, oh, I always dream about traveling to vast, open, beautiful, and magical worlds. You called my name but I was not there. I was traversing the forest of the world. I was enticed by the magic of it. I was listening to rock bands, and then I was once again staring at the stars, all of them aligned the way they are supposed to be. And in my dreams, my lips touched yours. I could feel the blood pulsing through your body. We are made up of broken pieces. I have memories of being alone in that city. Smog covered the sky, the night covered the earth. I was reaching for someone to take my hand, and then I was on a plane, traveling far away from there. And I never thought of it until now. There's only one thing I'm certain of. There's only one thing I'm certain of. Only one thing I'm certain of. We are running out of time in the world, and there is no greater power reaching down to take my hand. But at the same time, no one one thinks about these things. We traverse through the world, learning more about it every day. Yesterday, I was alone in the classroom. I was the first to arrive, I was the last to leave. There is no one here that speaks my language. No one here thinking about tomorrow and not today. No one here dreaming about eternity. No one contemplating the depths of what melody he can do. And no one experiencing it, just a group of people ignoring me when I speak to them, walking away when I approach them. All they say are words I will never hear. All we are is voices opposed to each other. But there was a blank page in front of me. I filled it with 13,000 words in the period of one night. I didn't sleep at all. I just wrote a metaphor in one place, clear and easy to understand, words in another, but in all places truth. I wanna write these words. I wanna write these words. Lockers of this school, and to broadcast them on every airwave without saying a single word to anyone. Words on a page will change the world, and I will never use my mouth to speak. These words will be like razor blades, they will pierce your skin, and the blood of the people will mix together, creating something new. There are so many voices in this room. Before the class is about to start, I picked up a guitar for the first time in a long time. Yesterday, I started to strum basic chords. I let the music take me over. All I wanted was to feel the grace of confidence of a stable future of a life lived with a purpose. There are souls dying to express what's inside of them, but they have no way to share. They have no way to share. No way to share it. I will be the voice not only for those souls, but for mine as well. Remember the times we were walking through the woods, and then walking by the lake, and then walking through the city, walking through the world, walking in the snow, walking in the light, walking in the night. In my dreams, we were dancing together. In my dreams, we were falling together. In my dreams, there's motion in the world. In my dreams, we're falling through eternity. And we understand it's nature, and in those dreams, I'm begging you to take me anywhere away from waking up. When I'm asleep and dreaming the world is not itself, what I need is a miracle. Because during the day I call your name, but no one can hear me. I will be the voice not only for those souls, but for mine as well. Remember the times we were walking through the woods, and then walking by the lake, and then walking through the city, walking through the world, walking in the snow, walking in the light, walking in the night. In my dreams, we were dancing together. In my dreams, we were falling together. In my dreams, we were falling together. In my dreams, there's motion in the world. In my dreams, we are falling through eternity and need, and we understand its nature. And in those dreams, I am begging you to take me anywhere away from waking up when I'm asleep and dreaming the world is not itself. What I need is a miracle, because during the day I call your name, but no one can hear me. But no one can hear me. No one can hear me. We were coasting through the world, we were watching the parts we loved disappear. The memories of our loved ones. I was sitting on the bridge, I was watching the water flow. I was hiking across a mountain, I was waiting for you to come and rescue me. But then I realized I was never in need of saving. I long to have something for myself, something I can hold and never let go of. I'm mourning the loss of what I will never have. I am exalted in celebration for what I will always have. I long for things I will never understand. I can't see them, but I know them. I can't feel them, but I know them. I do not hear anyone speaking about them, but I know them. But I know them, but I know them. I can't feel alone with what I long for. I will never long for anything again. I go into the woods with a tape recorder and start recording the spirits of the birds, the voices of the trees. And when I get home, I write down all of the lessons that I learned from these things in a notebook. And then I put them in a book and send it to you. You do not know these things, but I know them. The wind against my skin is enough to overpower me. And then I walk through the green fields. But do you believe in redemption? Do you know that it will win? Songs I never listened to echo in my mind. One love, the moments when you are alone and I am alone too. But we are in different countries and you have not met me. You stare at the lights on the ceiling. I am gazing at the open sky, contemplating the nature of the truths we don't understand, but think about more than anything else. And later I dream about being somewhere. Not one person will find me, because no one finds me in my dreams. Because when I sleep I am alone and forget I need anything at all. I need anything at all. I feel as if in another life I lived entirely on the sea, watching the waves roll, dreaming that I would eventually reach the shore. And in this life, which I no longer recall, I felt your breath against my neck. It might have been the wind, but it was strong, enthralling, and encapsulating of all things I believed about myself and about love. When you see me, what is it that you think I am feeling and thinking? When you see me, can you tell that my soul is real? You fall in love with what is in the soul. You dream about other worlds with yours. You fall into the depths of emotions you would never feel yourself. When your soul is entrenched in mine, it stays there and it doesn't ever need to leave. What would make someone want to bully another person, to strike them down, to insult them, to steal, to lie, to abandon them in their desperate hour? In their desperate hour, I never understood it, and I'm being totally honest with you. I feel so good whenever I use my words to tell you how I feel, but no one is here to listen to my words. What are the things you will feel next when you read my words? Nothing, or simply darkness, inhabiting my poems, embedding themselves in each syllable, translated into your sighing and freed by your tears. The summer is so far away, all we can feel is the overpowering force of winter, driving into us and taking us to places we don't want to be. We all seem sad in ways that those around us did not understand. When people walk by me, they just ignore me. I see darkness all around, but it all exudes from my soul. It will follow you after you read these words, to places you thought you would never feel the shadow follow you. Would never feel the shadow follow you. Would never feel the shadow follow you. In the desperate hour, in the desperate hour, in the desperate hour, in the desperate hour. what you are feeling and what is inside your soul. I can fall head first into a dream in which I have become the person that you are. The sunset and then the rain pouring down upon this lonely planet, where we do not have any idea what happens to us after our deaths, where we do not care much for anything but books and routine, rather than experiencing and feeling and then dreaming and then waking up and repeating all of this in joyful motion. I dread the days when I grow older. I know there will be days when the world grows colder and the air will be burning with freeze. Taken far away from our homes and taken to a cage where we will never escape, where we starve to death and no one cares for us again, because we cannot leave or use our voices to call for help. I think I would like to live past my youth and experience what it's like to be 30 and then 40, to have other concerns than the ones I have now, and to laugh about tomorrow, what I cry about today. I am missing the sensations I felt in my youth. I am falling forward into dreams again, and this time I don't believe I'll wake up, at least not for several lifetimes. And my poetry books will sit on the shelf of my room, and then the shelf of a dusty museum, until someone has the courage to pick them up, blow the dust off, and discover for themselves what I was feeling at the party. The students drink too much, two students making out in the corner of the room, and the music blaring in, and I am in the back of the room with my notebook writing this poem. All we crave is connection, but the kind that never dies. I have fantasy books on the walls of my room. I come back to them whenever I want to feel power or love or anything at all different than what is here. And now I am taken far away. When I think for a few moments that there is truth in the tales that are fantastical tales of fairies and dragons, but there are also shadows where the vampires dwell. They exist in our world too, but they go by different names, laying in wait for us to attack us and to manipulate us. I feel like I will be in this high school forever, just looking at your faces. I am now sitting in homeroom, and I don't talk to anyone, but instead write this poem. Maybe one day we will speak. Maybe one day we will fall in love. Maybe we will fall head first after each other. Maybe we will discover the truth about what exists now, forever and after, and also the things we know that will never last forever, or at least we hope that they will be destroyed and never follow us after our deaths. I will write these lines as you laugh about things I don't understand, and you will understand things about me when you read my words that you would never even until the end of all time know by simply looking at me. You are broken, I am too, falling into a routine where there will be no change in the world, ever or at all. When I wrote letters, I would pour my heart out into those letters. You don't feel anything, everything is numb. Turn up the music and dance with me, if you can hear me at all. You have sewn the part of my heart back together that was broken when I realized everyone dies for the first of an infinite amount of times. The moon is bright and beautiful, you see it as I imagine we will walk outside hand in hand. You are my pain, the one whose hand I hold when I don't remember why I am here or what I was doing, except you remind me that there is life, and I may never find you or even understand your nature. I wish I could stay inside all day long and contemplate things and dream of things and become one with the friction and chaos of the world. When I write about book, there is destruction in the world that once was something so beautiful, annihilated before its time, and we can never get it back or anything like it. The clouds are beautiful, they are almost reachable. but not quite touchable. Blood dripping down her wrist when all she has is taken from her. When we inflict torture on each other with no savior, I will write words that will distress you, because you won't understand them or understand if this darkness I write about is real or really fictional. I open the doors to your prison and guide you out to a desperate and beautiful world. You will never realize what you took away. The world itself grows darker with every passing day. Falling down the stairs head first into the dark, with 1,000 needles sinking into your skin. The walls that surround you are caving in. You know they would never listen, even if they could. All the love in the world now is gone for good. Everyone has an agenda, and love is rarely part of it. We are the youth, we are those uninvolved, we are those taken to where we never wanted to go. I call your name, you hear my name, but I sound dead. I hold your hand to reach for it, but it feels cold. You drew me out of myth and into truth of expression. The sound of the birds carried by the breath of the wind as the sunlight breaks through over the bridge. Through the trees, this is the moment I existed. Now soon it will vanish. When we find ourselves alone on hospital beds, you rush over to find me, but I am gone before you reach out to me. There is a vibrancy that only exists in human souls. There is clarity when we look into the eyes of another. I feel so much connection to you when I go and inhale the scent of the trees of these woods I walk alone in. Wishing I was not walking alone. Wishing I could feel something like the warmth of your hand, the depth of your sweat against my skin. The natural lights, it seems, are a reflection of a light I've never seen. When all I desire is unity, with the expressions of love I have felt throughout my fleeting days. When all I dream about is to become so close to you that I will never feel anything else again. When I tell you about love, we will no longer describe it as something we believe we may never attain. When we come closer to each other, we will be drawn and magnetized and never pull away. So I spend more days in my room staring intently at the ceiling, studying it, and then blasting music bands we've never heard of before. I can already hear them asking, what was the point of all of Serenity's poems? The point was so that when you're silently praying and begging God for salvation, that you can remember that you read these poems. And when you read these poems, you will wish that the world slowed down for just a moment longer, so that you can tell the universe or God or whatever you believe in that you still want your lover. But she will never come back to you because she took her last breath long ago. And you were overcome by a sudden feeling of dread, but still desperation, not quite despair, but it is a feeling akin to it. I have more words to write, you're not even close to the end of this file yet. You will read more words about sadness and despair, hope and restoration, redoing but nothing more. Stay with me for tonight at least, and I will read all of these words, and your mind will be transformed, your heart will be changed. And salvation will come to another one of the lost sheep of the world. The wolves in the field won't find you. You will become so close to me, and our friendship will lift us out of this world together for a long time, if not forever. You were not here for me when I cried out with a shrilling voice in the middle of the dark. You were not here for me when melody was inside my soul. And you didn't know what it was, so you threw it away, and it shriveled up and died, and my heart never had a song inside it again. The music is loud, the band takes the stage, telling us more about ourselves than we ever told our friends. Poets from a far-off land will meet here at a reading, but none of their words have the power that mine have. None of them will write about anything that I am feeling now. There was a distant land in a different time, and one we have grown so familiar with. In this land there was always a shadow overcoming it. But when the days of darkness ended, the people came out of the holes they dug for themselves and became one with the sunlight. Falling in love with poetry when I am alone on my bed. And then the cosmos resonates and speaks to me and tells secrets to my soul that you would only hear if you listened closely and felt my breath. The moment when we spend all our days inside our own home, reading books about religion and philosophy. Because we believe if we study these works for long enough, our lives will be transformed. And we will all become new persons longing for the light underneath the entrance to the juvenile detention center. I hear stories about kids who have done terrible things, and they want their sins to be forgiven. How hatred and death follow us all. Some of us have not even done a thing wrong, but through the darkness our voices eventually grow silent. And when no one hears them, there will be a resonance that shatters through the dire moments when we need you more than ever. And right now I crave salvation now, more than ever salvation. From the decadence in the summer of when the firestorm destroys our home. And later on the shackles are unlocked and clatter onto the floor. We follow the prison guard out of the juvenile detention center and into the dark world where we struggle each day to get someone to understand the truth about the torture in our hearts that claws us until we collapse. And when we collapse, we might never stand up again. A song in a minor key, ominous, clairvoyant, beautiful, enchanting, hardening death and prophesizing life. All at the same time we're begging to be saved from what we don't understand. I am imploring you, take me far away from this school where I will never be loved or known by anyone. A few days later I will stand naked in front of the mirror, stepping out of the shadow my eyes see in the mirror where I will never understand. And you know too that you will never understand me or grasp me. Complicated thoughts in my mind are falling and out of love all of the time. What I say I don't really mean. When the embers in the night burn, they never go out but are never seen. They light our path anyway, even though we cannot see them. Despite their dimness, they follow us like fireflies. And we only believe in the things we see with our own eyes, but sometimes we don't believe our eyes either. I am somewhere walking over the edge of a bridge, and my pain is walking with me, the dying wish in my broken heart to fall so deeply into an ocean of despair that hope will eventually pull me up. And I will stand on my own 2 feet and eventually return to the land from which I was taken, and then talk to those in the land of despair and tell them about the colors, the lights, the taste, the smells, the love, the charity of a beautiful but broken world that none of them were brave enough to experience again. I will lift them up and take them with me to a place where they will never desire to go anywhere else again. It is always better to feel than to feel nothing at all. In my dreams, you are here. You believe in what is pure and true. You wish you could travel through time and find yourself in the arms of a lover who left your life long ago. There are demons in this world. There are angels in this world. Life hurts in this world. I wanna leave this world, but I cannot tell the angels from the demons, or the light from the darkness, or the difference between torture and tranquility, when confusion is all that fills this world. falling deeper into the fits of depression. No one ever understood. If they understood these things, we would know what to call them. And if we knew their names, we could tell them to leave us forever. I asked for help, you weren't there. You told me never to talk to you again. Love drifting across my skin like water. When you touch me, you grip me and put your arms behind my neck. Chemicals in our minds telling us this is right, that despite those who would find us, we know what we are doing is right. The chemicals in our minds were wiser than the voices of dissent, because they've been here some trillion years, existing in the universe before any of us ever existed. You and I coming home together, I've never experienced this, but I can imagine what it would feel like, and the bliss of when the world is in passion, and when love is in motion, and then love rests. When you and I are together and all of the doors of us are closed to everyone except to each other, you can come to me and find anything you need. At the frat party, the hip-hop music blaring from the speakers of this home where people live and moved out, stories told and then forgotten. Serenity says, someone approaching with a beer bottle in hand. Have a drink with me, I'm not interested. I leave and walk away, walk home in the cold. And on my journey home, I meet people we both believe to be dead. I converse with them and imbibe my words into their floating spirits. A year ago, all that summer, I worked at a catering company. I would attend those weddings and serve food at the reception. And I felt content in the fact that I could make other people happy, even though I was never paid for that job at all, because the company went out of business before they could pay me. I had a dream about being in another universe, and I'm trying to call you, but the number never reaches you. And at this moment, I am walking through the woods again for the 100th time this year. I feel the most at peace when the sunlight breaks through the trees, and I can feel the warmth on me, and I can feel the emotion swelling up in nostalgia, telling us all about our past lives. If we could come back from the dead, we would fill the world with words about how fleeting our lives are now when our families are broken. And we wander the empty streets without a home. We shiver in the cold and not one person hears our voices in the chill of the night. I had a dream that we went on a long trip together across the country. I had a dream that when we listened for them, back from the dead, we would fill the world with words about how fleeting our lives are now when our families are broken. And we wander the empty streets without a home. We shiver in the cold and not one person hears our voices in the shrill of the night. I had a dream that when we listened for the voice of God, we could hear that voice clearly, and that voice told us the secrets we never admitted about ourselves. I had a clear vision that when we were falling deeper, drowning in the Atlantic, there was something to lift us out and to get us to cough up all of the water and then breathe the free air again, and walk the earth for another 80 or so years. I had a dream that you looked very different than you do now, and we were listening to songs we would never listen to, and we learned to live life to its entire extent. I have a memory that poems are always true, and they tell us all the truth we know are true, but never admit to another soul. I held the manuscript in my hands, but no one saw it, and I locked it away and never touched it again. When I think of the poverty that is in the world, I realize that no one is thinking about it, because there is no way to stop it from taking over, so that from one moment on we live with nothing. And when we have nothing, we still will have the love of our family. And then we don't care about any material things. Through the devastation we walked had a dream that when we listened for the voice of God, we could hear that voice clearly, and that voice told us the secrets we never admitted about ourselves. I had a clear vision that when we were falling deeper, drowning in the Atlantic, there was something to lift us out and to get us to cough up all of the water and then breathe the free air again and walk the earth for another 80 or so years. I had a dream that you look very different than you do now, and we were listening to songs we would never listen to, and we learned to live life to its entire extent. I have a memory that poems are always true, and they tell us all the truths we know are true, but never admit to another soul. And they meant more to us than the torture we were feeling. The vastness of the oceans, and how we will never swim too far from the shore, and in nations far away there are people like us near the shore, swimming in the ocean, wondering about the nature of the sky and the reason there are countries with borders at all, when all the borders do is keep us separated from understanding. And after we walk back from the beach, we go to a tavern and eat cheesesteaks together, and you talk about the time that has passed and the friends we lost years ago, while I listen intently. And then you talk about the poverty that is in the world, and I cannot believe what has happened to the world, and there are no other worlds. If we lose the one we have and I fall asleep the night alone and dream that there are other worlds, and that in them there is magic and desperation, hope, thriving and suffering. And that is the world where we sit on the beach and watch the mermaids swim in the ocean by the shore, and they spray and sauce us, and then we understand the nature of connection, of friendship, and of passive and of passing and valuable things. About the time that has passed and the friends we lost years ago, while I listen intently. And then you talk about the poverty that is in the world, and understanding. And I cannot believe what has happened to the world, and there are no other worlds if we lose the one we have. And I fall asleep that night alone and dream that there are other worlds, and that in them there is magic and desperation, hope, thriving and suffering. And the ocean by the shore, and the spray and sauce us, and then we understand the nature of connection, of friendship and of passing and valuable things. Keeps us in motion from day to day. If we pretended that this day was our last day, we would not spend it any differently. I could become like Elena Gilbert, taken into a tidal wave of dark magic, and then overcome by the same melody that comes from this magic, and totally enthralled by it, fall into the arms of a lover who should have been dead. Because truth be told, both of us should have been dead. But then suddenly there is salvation, and I am human, I am alive with my lover. And then we can be together forever. I could be Dana and my lover could be both, and we could live in a land where there are trials, adversity, wealth, but also ignorance. And I, Dana, will fall headfirst into you, not wanting anything else but to be loved forever and after, and in another universe. I'm like Angel and my lover is like Buffy, only in the fact that you must let go of me. Because loving me does nothing but cause you torment. But at the same time, the only thing we will ever desire is eternal life. But we never drink from the cup of salvation, we never eat the bread of life, but instead eat from the table of our own despair and our own wanting and needing, and then our own deaths. These deaths will be short and sweet. These moments will drown us in our own music and enchanting melody. But one will never understand, and it is as dangerous as it is lovely, and it is as desperate but as it is sure. And we know what we long for, but we never named it. We know what we taste in our mouths, but we never keep that taste. We know what it is to be in love, but we only have one word for it in the English language. Today I sit in front of the locker, and all of these words flow from my pen today. I sit in front of my locker, you are quite oblivious to me. You are quite unknowing of the things I know you will never understand. It is important to try to understand, even if you know you never will understand. I dyed my hair pink a few days ago because I wanted to tell you that I don't want to fit in. I never will. I must stand out from the crowd and be remembered as the only one who dressed or acted a certain way. But I will sit in the back of the room and I will be totally relaxed, but never at peace, always at war with the world, always trying to find an excuse to become a little bit stronger in this conflict. Oh my dear, you know that when we meet there will be fireworks. I can't imagine what will happen the first time that we kiss, the first time we fall in love, the first time we are together, the first time you hold me and try never to let go. But we must leave for one or other reason, but now you will always be here. And these words, can you leave these words? No, you aren't right here together with me, and we are dancing and laughing whenever these words are read. And we wait here for someone to read these words until they are read, then nothing happens. Today we wait as the hunger inside us grows for the kind of fulfillment we will never have. We dance in our own dreams with friends we will not be friends with in our lives. Words on the pages of these notepads soon come alive. While people cross our borders, are alienated, we stay inside our walls and write stories of our own. A trip to the beach, you and me alone in your car. When we reach the beach, I am exonerated and spin around with my arms outstretched. I'm grasping at truth, and I dream of being held in the arms of you, my lover. How can we describe torment and misery? What would bring someone to the moment of anguish? We can dream about being so far away from each other that we meet each other on opposite sides and stick to each other and are never again separated. As long as there are dreams which we share, so joined together, and which we grasp so tightly, we will have this connection. Chiefly when you dream about traveling the world, and I dream about it too. With each year that we grow older, you understand more about the world. Secondarily, when we hold on to memories only you and I have shared together every year. When our birthday came, we would find ourselves clinging on to the years that were fleeting, drifting deep away from a world that was needing to realize its own desperation. And we were truly free in our own expression, when no one could tell us to stop writing, singing, expressing, and growing, and loving, and thriving, and feeling. The passing days have drifted us apart. We live separate lives, we speak once a day, then once a week, and then once a month. But I know you will find life in my poems, the best friend I've ever had, with a heart that is growing old and also growing warmer, opening up to the world, seeing the lights and the beauty that is only comprehended when you stop and take in several very deep breaths And then you stop and realize that the act of breathing is the reason why we are alive. Love pulling ourselves together while entropy tries to tear us apart. Today is our birthday again, and I think about you, though you are on the other side of the country. Though we walk different paths, I am convinced they all lead back to where they started. Your friend forever, serenity. We're alone in dark rooms, we hear music telling us that there once was a time when we thrived in the bright and open world. As the nights drift on, we fall asleep and are carried away far out to sea on ships that never touched our shore. We grow closer to wanting to fall in love each day with feelings we will never express again. Because we cannot define any of these feelings, we become emancipated by the time we sacrifice serving others and falling away from our own dreams. And then those ships where we lay asleep never approach the shore. We called home ever again, oh, ever again. From the steeples of the church and the faces of those nameless in the crowd, passerby abiding here only for a short time, until they drift away into the depth of music. And here I am, contemplative, feeling for all things, expressing all truth, and becoming closer to mortality, hearing the music which the crowd is drawn by myself. And then I drift into the crowd and become myself, entranced by the music like all others. And then I follow its rhythm and am lost and forgotten, drifting into universal. The first day I saw you, you never answered me, so I drifted away from you and never spoke to you again. And then I saw you every day in classrooms where there was a school I never attended, because I was only dreaming. Now you are not part of my story, but you were part of a brief experience. The pressure laid down on our shoulders prevents us from relaxing for a single moment, because this anxiety follows us. We stand on the National Mall lawn and I kiss you. We stand in places where we grow and learn more about the world together, and this learning brings understanding when the clouds grow dark. We stand underneath them and I kiss you in the middle of the storm, when the news arrives that the war has just begun. I kiss you in the midst of the firestorm, when we are desperate to be heard. We give our love that we created together freely to the rest of the world, and as the world receives this love, it learns more about itself than I could ever teach it. 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 I hear you walk by, you sing, kiss me and take off your clothes. You were lying in bed next to her. She was singing softly and quietly while she was in love. Kiss me and take off your clothes. When we grow so close that all we can think about is being with our own girlfriends, and you hold her. And then when you are not holding her, you count down the days until you see her again. And then you feel so passionate when you meet again. You cannot describe what you are feeling, but my words will come so close to describing it. There is something deep in our bones that brings us together, bonds unbreakable, true, unforgettable. Every single night when we labor, presumably in vain, in a dead-end job, but then we come home and you fall asleep on the couch alone, remembering the days when there were books worth of stories to tell about the love we feel when we are joined close today. I long for all of the things I felt in my past. The light on my face, warming it up, gives me strength, comfort, understanding, and faith that each day will follow the other. And as these days pass, the cycle of creation will go on for an eternity, while we patiently wait for the days of summer to set in. And then we embrace the freedom in the summer with open arms, and we explore the vibrant parts of the world we found fall in love and discover some of the things we were lacking. When you think of summer while you are alone in your room and the snow covers your streets, you remember love found and the lost, how you would fall asleep on the couch with her and mom. Your fingers through her hair before you both would fall asleep. You feel surrounded by warm nostalgia. You feel enveloped in the tantalizing motions of the things you will never experience again. When I stand in the snow and I shiver, I dream about the days when the summer heat would strike my cheeks, and the warmth itself would fill me with peace. When I stood on the beach with my friends until the sun went down. And this would go on for 3 months until the routine of school would start again. In our youth, we were so excited to be in the world. As the days passed, we became used to the sights we saw, and the gorgeous and vibrant world had suddenly become mundane to us. Because we were so used to seeing the rivers and mountains and the trees, we will never feel the same way about the world since when it was new to us. And we also discovered that there can be places within human hearts, within human hearts, where there's no charity that turns a cold shoulder to the beggar at their doorstep, that takes what never belonged to them, destroying life and love. But through the passing years, we have learned to fight for what is right, to welcome those in need, and to be a friend to those who have nowhere else to turn. We are coasting through a world that has become chaotic. When the ones you love are suffering, you give and never stop. You are always there for the people that you love, despite the chaos in this world. You greet each day with a smile and hold your head up high. She broke up with you because she believed you cheated. Rumors spreading like wildfire, none of them were true. It hit you like a heart attack when she left. You couldn't believe it was happening, so sudden, so cruel, so desperate to express how you felt. And now she is with someone else. You were so close, promises broken, the love that was supposed to be forever. But we forgot what forever means. At night you lie alone at home, you are serenaded by the dial tone, and then you stop calling and never think of her again, because we forgot the meaning of forever. Away from routine, it takes me to places where the world will never be dull. You are the one that fills me with joy and knowledge that love is tangible and powerful enough to overcome what we believed was insurmountable. And when I kiss you, I feel overflowing with peace, as if all the broken pieces in the world had been reconciled. And as the years pass, there will be a million more ways to fall in love with you all over again. My guitar is broken and I never picked one up again. I would stay inside listening to Beatles songs, wishing I could write songs and anyone would listen to the words I write. It feels like betrayal when I come to you and you swear to tell no one, but you lie. My guitar is broken and I never picked one up again. I will stay inside listening to Beatles songs, wishing I could write songs or that anyone would listen to the words I write. It feels like betrayal when I come to you and you swear to tell no one, but you lie. My guitar is broken and I never picked listening to Beatles songs, wishing I could write songs, or that anyone would listen to the words I write. It feels like betrayal when I come to you, and you swear to tell no one, but you lie. The darkness that was hidden in the vastness of this world calls to us, telling us that we are beyond saving, coming to us like music comes to us, coming to us in our despair, like death in the thick of conception. Today we wait by the dark abandoned city, and the light of moving feet will never grace these streets again. We walk through the midst of the riots this night on the 4th of July in Chicago. After the fireworks, we all implode and reach a breaking point. I have dreams about being far away from the city and becoming someone, and breaking far away from poverty. And then a new melody befalls us as we walk back to the airport. Oh. Come back to this same city ever again. When I needed you, you were never there for me, and I was dying without your help. And then resentment grew until I was dead. What a joy it is to be alive, but in death we find ourselves closer to becoming something we never knew we would become, so close to nothingness. We can taste our own non-conception. We can forget that we were staring at the ceiling, wondering why we were alive. And then we will go to different cities and read passionate words to strangers that will change and transform the world slowly, a person at a time. When your heart beats close to mine, our fears flee quickly from us when the night grows dark and the siren song calls to us. The siren song calls to us. The siren song calls to us, and our ship draws closer to that dreadful shore. We hold on to what is precious to us. My hand falls naturally into yours. I believe all things will be made right. Somewhere before the end, anywhere like the kingdom of light, encompassing the world while the fools are guiding the world to where it will never be the same again. We have so much, we are losing so much. The world is dragged through the mud, and this was the one warmth we had, the one life we had to live. I miss being able to hold you whenever I wanted to. We follow the ocean on our journey and let the stars guide us as the wind is on our backs, as it takes several months to reach our destination. We'll never understand the nature of time. Our things so far from us and now close to us, and then these things are gone far away from us, and we stand alone in darkness of the world, waiting for the keys to be struck on the keyboard to write the end of our story. And the ending of the story surprises us. Today is all we have. My lover comes back to me, the sweetest hello, the saddest goodbye, where my only desire is to remain with him forever. Too often we forget, too often we do what is wrong, and then we fall into the depth of the night, into arguments and hatred, and we forget about our only desire, desperate and hopeless, alone and desolate. Getting off the bus at the city, feeling the breathless cold, begging you to make a sound that no one will hear. Poetry, no one will imbibe, death and nothing will penetrate. Days where we lay alone, looking at the distant stars, remembering your hands slipping into mine, remembering that we are the last of our own kind, as the night becomes encompassed in the stars. fighting, and love is broken so easily that we fall apart and never wake up from the coma. We see the world as a prison, which we have fallen into by mistake. We pretend that our families are still alive, and that when we say their names, someone in this universe hears those names. We lie to ourselves when we say that creation will last forever, and that any one person will hear any of our words. I'm the poet of all times. I am the poet of the soul and the poet of voiceless, because my voice has been taken from me as well. And I understand what the voiceless are going through. It is better to experience than it is to understand. It is better to feel the healing motions than to never be wounded. But when language is exhausted, there will be no way to mend these wounds. When we stop understanding each other, there will be no way to find the other anywhere, because we put up walls no one can penetrate. When we forget the meaning of truth, because we are penetrated by nothing, and we understand nothing. If you ever can feel the depth of what melody is, beyond the pure chemicals in your mind, you will possess all knowledge. And I can't imagine many things as I sit in this classroom, actively not listening to the teacher, actively not paying any attention to the students. I will write about these stories in this notebook, dreams of love lost in summers, forgotten feelings inside. Calling our hearts from the inside, and tearing through, reaching through our bodies, and penetrating others until the whole world rides in the same misery, and then realizes that it has achieved the greatest anguish that could ever exist. The way I felt with you, like feeling things I never believed could be felt within the human heart. The nature of creation is too cyclical. We are born, we go off into the world, and we return to the dust and become ashes and float across the rivers. Remember, there are many memories you will make in the future. You can let go of the past. He said to me, expecting me to understand. There are many things I do not understand, and some things I am sure I will never understand. When you tell me about the places you have gone to, I tell you I will never go to any of those places, but I will be walking through the city, watching the smoke cover the clouds, and watching the hellfire of the war rain down on a lonely city. I wanna find myself somewhere far from this city, but we'll never know what is there to greet me. In these hallways, shivering, freezing, desperate, absolutely alone. No one would be listening, even if they could, like an episode of The Twilight Zone. I would never believe the world would become like this, until the clouds covered the stars, until the smoke covered the clouds, until the smoke covered the clouds, until the redness of the firelight covered the smoke, filling the air with explosions, not like those of fireworks, but instilling fear and death in our hearts. The pictures have all grown so black and white. The color is taken from the world, and we don't remember what the world looked like at all. When there was color in it, we will be scavenging to survive, and dreaming about the way the world was before the worst imaginable turmoil. We grasp onto the words we hold close to our hearts, hoping they will bring us back to life after we have passed away. remember where the world was, when there was peace and nothing could hurt us. You fall down into the night and I dive after you. I am saved by the motion of the water, pushing me back to where I came from. The current takes me back to my home, and then I forget about you, that you ever existed. And I wait for you to come back, because I'm too afraid to dive after you again. But then the ground slips out from under me, and I fall after you. And the currents of the waves cannot stop me from being submerged. But then we realized this was all just one dream, and that I never met you, and that I've been longing to be with you for my entire life. And we were lost in the depth of the melodies we never understood. And after we woke up, we had to go back to school, back to work, to live in a country surrounded by poverty. We wrote 50 books during the course of our lives, but not one single soul read any of them. And these books contain the answer that would eliminate poverty, eliminate cancer, and alleviate, but not completely blot out, the problem of death. And we forgot our own despair and grasped onto hope. The peace we found after we forgot our despair was unimaginable and perfect and pure. We fell into the abstract concept of truth. We fell into the abstract concept of truth and lost ourselves in this dark night where we did not know anything except for what was true. We were lied to so much that the light of truth was so small. We could barely see a thing, but we followed the light out of the tunnel and into the deep and vibrant world we dreamed about, finding ourselves in places we lived in. When we were only children, we dreamed that we never slipped and fell down a flight of stairs into the darkness of an abandoned subway station, where we lay motionless for several days until someone crawled down into the hole after us and took us to a hospital. We didn't want to be separated, so we stitched our dreams together, so that when we ran after these dreams, we would end up finding each other. In the end, we fell deeply in love with these dreams that were so close, and then our destinies were sealed with each other. You promised me that we would never settle for anything else, but an eternity searching and finding what the poets have written about forever. We take off down the highway in your car, and we discover everything we were lacking in the moments when the world slows down in traffic, in the moments when we walk through the forest and fall into each other's arms, not thinking about the rest of our life or any other moment, but this single present moment. But really I am still sitting in this hallway of the school, writing about everything I see as the first day of this school year's about to end. And we hear the clattering noise of feet against the floor, and the banter of gossip indistinguishable from any other words, as we hear the names of people who died last summer, the names of celebrities who we will never meet, the names of bands whose concerts I never attended, songs I never sang. But all of these things will be sung in this poem. All of these will thrive in the life of poetry, where actions are enshrined. I will be your heroine, I will be your ecstasy. More than an illusion, something you will never forget. When we understand how quickly we are drifting, how quickly our hearts are fading. Your heroine, your only lover from a world you do not understand. I am not from this world, and I can take you out of it, take you far from where we are now and thought we would be forever. Listen carefully as I tell you all the secrets about yourself. You weren't brave enough to admit to yourself you're a liar, you're a thief, you're a cheater, but but it doesn't matter when we all are drifting. We are now totally numb to all of the things that bothered us before. After we lose our lives, take my hand, now take my heart, now bind our lives together. Now take my virginity, now make our blood become one. Now, so that we can be taken out of this world and into the new and exciting world. Your hand in mine, we will walk through these walls and never return here again. We will be doing what the others were dreaming of doing for their entire lives. We will be what they dreamed, we wanted a new life, our whole lives. Now is our chance to stitch the broken pieces we had become into one single new and whole piece. Now is our chance to destroy the fear. I am compelled to do what is right by a force I do not understand. I want to take you with me when we discover new worlds. Take you when we discover truth about ourselves that no one else has ever understood. When we keep expressing, never stop expressing. When we keep breathing, never stop breathing. When we find what is beautiful about each other and never stop loving each other. When we find what we long for as kids and watch the time drift away until we are no longer children, and watch the time drift away until we are old and in our death. Became certain of these things, so certain in fact that we were able to walk on the water without second guessing. You were so certain that you took my hand without a second thought, without doubting that I would reach out and let you take my hand in yours. And you knew that peace was only a few moments away, in the voice of the poor people, in the voice of strangers you meet on the street, and lie about not having any money, and lie about not having any way to help those struggling, living on nothing to $2 an hour, living your life in a shell. You will never be able to escape from dreaming that there are better ways to live our lives than to shut ourselves off from the rest of the world, which is always reaching out to us, telling us that there are more places to explore, and it's telling us that we are now forgetting the plans we had years ago, and finding someone new to fall in love with, finding someone who will always love us unconditionally, and falling into an ocean where we will always reach out, our head barely breaking through the water and seeing the bright and blue sky. But we don't have enough strength to wade in the water before the ocean overtakes us, and we slip into the water forever, and then are reincarnated into a new person, and come into the world with a new name, and greet the world with open arms, unlike you did in your past life. And you forget the good things in life, because you know what life can be like when you are rejected by everyone and you come alive. And then you forget about what it was like to want and need, and then you thrive. The music of the world gets louder and glasses are raised, but we realize that your hand will not always be in mine. We are so far from what you wanted the world to be, but so close to perfection, and it is unthinkable how many emotions you feel, reaching a breaking point, reaching a boiling point. Love, the world will never comprehend. If I fall, you run to catch me, and I do the same for you. We can be the rulers of a world that thought it had forgotten its rightful king. If I leave and my heart grows colder alone, when you are not here, you will be on another planet. And then we struggle to find each other again, and there will be wars waged across the stars again. And there will be death that follows all of us, until we understand that we cannot escape from it. let the water transform you into a new creation. And then you sink deeper into the river until you fall across the waterfall. Come and greet me in the next light, after the world has awoken from 1,000 years of night. Come and greet me in the next song, after the world forgets how to sing for 1,000 years. We are comprised of broken pieces that will never come together. Will never come together. Will never come together. Will never come together. If I leave and my heart grows colder alone, when you are not here, you will be on another planet. And then we struggle to find each other again, and there will be wars waged across the stars again. And there will be wars waged across the stars, and there will be death that follows all of us, until we understand that we cannot escape from it, and lie down on the grass and feel the dew on it, and let the water transform you into a new creation. And then you sink deeper into the river until you fall across the waterfall. Come and waterfall. Come and greet me in the next light, after the world has awoken from 1,000 years of night. Come and greet me in the next song, after the world forgets how to sing for 1,000 years. We are comprised of broken pieces that will never come together, except in the arms of each other. We are comprised of songs we have walking down, but we'll only remember the day we are driving down the highway without a care in the world. We will sing these songs like anthems, and these anthems will awaken the world. And we'll sing these songs like anthems, and these anthems will awaken the world from the coma, from the nightmare wanted to escape from, but have fallen so deep into. We'll never come together. How do I explain the things I cannot explain to myself? How can you expect to understand any of the things I have internalized and know so closely and contemplate every day, but do not understand even now? How can you be so close to someone and feel them as a part of you, but then have them torn from you forever? What is the purpose of a life unlived? How can we be so carried away with thoughts of life we have not yet understood? Where would you rather be than here? I would rather be nowhere except for where I am now. This is the right about what is true. Morphine in your veins, you cannot feel anything at all, including the love I have for you. Numbness worse than death. Oh my dear, come to me when I am in love with you, before I have forgotten you. When we are bursting with passion and not indifference, depth and never despair, life and truth collide. When we touch, collide. When we touch, believe what I say, that for so long we have been suffering in the midst of the coldness of a broken world, where tears are the only things that fall from our eyes, where death is the only certain future event, where we are locked in an abandoned bathroom with no way to get out, where we are locked inside our own writings and never are understood by anyone, and then we walk out into the world and are ignored. When I am in love with you, before I have forgotten you. When we are bursting with passion and not indifference, depth and never despair, life and truth collide. When we touch, collide. When we touch, believe what I say, that for so long we have been suffering in the midst of the coldness of a broken world, where tears are the only things that fall from our eyes, where death is the only certain future event, where we are locked in an abandoned bathroom with no way to get out, where we are locked inside our own writings and never are understood by anyone, and then we walk out into the world and are ignored. Future event, where we are locked in an abandoned bathroom with no way to get out, where we are locked inside our own writings and never are understood by anyone, and then we walk out into the world and are ignored. I've been struggling to put my thoughts to words for several years, but finally learned to write poems and learn to not stop writing, to write through the dark clouds until I can see through the clouds and see the sun shining through these clouds. We will fall so in love that we will understand truth and believe it too. You will be the voice inside my head in the memory that I cannot understand. You are a thief, stealing my desire to live an ordinary life. We will never be comfortable with anything less than passion and perfection, taking the place of bliss. When you see me, you stand underneath the street light, and we kiss for the first and the last time, and never understand why, but we know why. And then we fall down into the ocean, pure anticipation for what will happen next. We fall into the depth of the lights of cities we will never visit again. I wish I could write more and describe every detail of everything that I see right now. I can smell the marijuana and I see the cars going by at the street light, and I see those lined up outside the club waiting to get in. And when they get in, they will hear loud music and they will dance until their dreams are following them home and into their beds. I have so many things to say about this fragile but unbroken world. I have so many things to say about my once whole but broken world. I have so many things to say about my once whole but broken life as the months go by. I know we will feel so much, we will inhale so much, not just the drugs, but also the melodies we find on the street corner in the radios of the passing cars. And these melodies float up into the air and reach the clouds and travel to other cities, where there is someone like me who understands me, hears the same song and dreams about the same things. I dream about when she falls asleep. And maybe in her dreams we will meet each other, if there was ever such as a thing as one consciousness reaching out to another. But I find it so hard to believe any of this, but I believe it all with the entirety of my broken heart. The tears will tell the truth, that every dream we believe will be attainable. Like when you reach out from my hand and I let you take my hand, and when you take my hand it sinks deep into yours and then finds itself comfortable and surrounded by truth. And then surrounded by love, we are slipping through the universe. We are once surrounded by love, but ultimately surrounded by nothing. We lock ourselves in rooms where there are no songs to be heard. Sing the anthems with me, we are both slipping through the universe. And we sing together, we sing when we walk out of that classroom. And I grasp your hand, and you take it, and then we dance, and are so content. And then you have so much energy that you believe that nothing can stop you from becoming something more than who you appear to be. You whisper to me, you tell me all of your fears and all of your dreams. You touch me and it is perfect. You look at me and you understand, and our souls almost touch, but not quite. Tongues expressing the words that were written on the page and verbalizing, speaking vocal I was never read before. The world is enchanted by a shroud that steals the light away from the world, covers the cloud, steals away the light, and breaks the beautiful things. Not one person greeted me today, and I know that this is the way the world will be for the rest of this year today. I feel so alone today, I feel so tortured, that I could not undo what has been done, that I could not feel enough. For the people who we live together within this same world, that we cannot hold each other so close that we can understand what the soul is never understood, and will never be grasped or touched by definition. We can get close to it, but it was never tangible. I always wanted to understand you just a little, but from outside of the shell of the body, and to hold you and never let go of you. I will never change, I will always be the person that I am. No one can make me stop, I will always be held in the arms of the breeze of the free and open world. I will always be held in the arms of a world that has forgotten more about itself than it had ever learned. We are falling into the depth of despair, and we know that this is the way the world will be for the rest of the way true. When the fire rains down from the sky and the bombs go off, and then we don't feel a thing ever again, come closer and hold me, so I will never stop feeling you.